Tattoo artist of Reddit, what's the most beautiful/saddest request you've ever gotten or one that has stood out? My oldest ever client. She was 76, and had just received a bad diagnosis, so had come in with her son to cross off get a tattoo from her bucket list. She wanted a blue dragonfly on her collarbone, but couldn't stand upright and steady for long, so, with the help of her son, I had to lay her down on the bed to apply the stencil. Wherever possible, you should always apply a stencil with a client standing naturally, so that the design isn't distorted when gravity shifts their body. She laughed hysterically when she stood up to check the stencil placement, and it shifted from her shoulder and disappeared into her cleavage. We had a great time during the tattoo. The three of us laughed and joked. She had a great sense of humor and was really positive despite her grim diagnosis. 2.5 years later, she returned to the tattoo shop, now 78. Far less energetic this time, she asked me to add her son's name beneath the blue dragonfly. He had suddenly fallen sick and passed away before her. And him crying. Yep. That ending just cut open a dozen onions over here. Edit, no, not the red recalled onions. I prefer white. Lol. I was expecting her to go, I am dying, thank you kind man woman for the tattoo, I did not expect this necessary edit, holy thank you for 1.4k upvotes. My partner pro bono's tattooed nipples on women's reconstructed breasts. She is a cosmetic tattooist and post-operative breast cancer patients are referred to her. They often cry when they see themselves after the procedure. They say that it is feeling whole again after so much trauma. A young woman came in wanting a belly button tattoo. When I asked what she wanted in her belly button, she said, "I don't have a belly button, I want you to tattoo one on me." She was born with malfunctioning organs, and as a newborn the doctors had cut her open from sternum to tailbone in order to remove said organs and then stitched her back up, leaving 2 small holes in her side for waste. She was perfectly sealed up apart from those 2 holes. After I had tattooed a dainty little gray and pink navel, she got up to have a look, tears welled in her eyes, and then she did a little dance as she squeaked, "I've never felt closer to my mother." The shop got a little dustier that day. That was just about the best feeling I've ever had after completing a tattoo. Did you make her an innie or an outie? Lol, she preferred an innie. Imagine being able to choose and you opt for an outie. I was like, what's wrong with an outie? I have an innie myself, so your comment sent me a Google image and damn, I never realized how weird so many belly buttons look like. My sis is an artist. She had a client she really liked, did some good portraiture work on. The client was out at dinner one night when she suddenly got a headache, and died on the spot from a brain aneurysm, leaving behind her young son. My sister did a charity event to raise money for her family and tattooed dozens of red balloons in her memory. I'm still really proud of her for doing that edit. Holy shit guys, wow. Just wanted to say, if you're having the worst skull-splitting headache of your life, do not hesitate, call 911. It's slim, but you do have a chance if you know what to do. My girlfriend's dad died from a brain aneurysm just a couple days ago. It can happen to anybody at any moment. My dad died from a brain aneurysm 6 months after retiring at age 65. This was 2 years ago. Same deal, had a funny feeling in his head. My mom took him to the hospital, and while sitting with the doctor, he put his hands to his head and then sort of shot back and was dead. Worst phone call ever, as I would have guessed he would live into his 80s and they would enjoy retirement. Now my mom lives with me. Changed everyone's lives in a second. Hey, just wanted to say I'm really sorry. My dad passed away from side effects of immunotherapy at 65, almost exactly 2 years ago as well. I feel like I'm living in the ashes of a house that went up in flames. You're not alone. Life is tragically short and fragile, and every moment is precious for that reason, as I'm sure you know. Wish you the best. Not me, but my artist. A guy came in his shop and asked for a St. George killing the dragon tat. My artist did the job, and that was it. Like a month after, a girl came in the shop and she asked too for the same design, and my artist said something like, "Oh good, I've done the same picture like a month ago, so I'm still fresh and can do a really good job." And as soon as he finished the sentence, the girl started crying really bad. The guy was her brother that committed suicide 1 week before, and she wanted the tat for legacy. He did the job pro bono. Edit some spelling. English is not my first language, sorry for the mistakes.
George killing the dragon tat. My sleep-deprived brain interpreted this as serious George killing the dragon and pictured Curious George's much more dangerous brother.
I really kind of want a Serious George tattoo now, tbh. The brother who was never loved. Never had a childhood. Forced to train. Trained to kill. While his younger brother, whom he loved and protected, had his innocence guarded. He was forced into a life of cold-blooded assassination. His name is Serious George. What's your Venmo, bro? Gonna send you $2 gold. Lol, appreciate the love, my man, but it's all good. Just my silly imagination running wild, lol. Here's a silver, bro, for the love. I tattooed a pig and rooster on a young couple's feet. He got the rooster, she got the pig. Traditionally, sailors would get these designs tattooed as a superstitious way to keep from drowning. A few months later, he contacted me to let me know that a while after they got the tattoos, they broke up. She then took her own life. He came back to me to get the pig tattooed on his other foot to match. It was a heavy day, for sure. I knew a couple like that once. They decided they'd take a break, and shortly after, the girl took her life. They were both close friends of mine, and everyone who knew her took it rough. We had a memorial at my school. There was a lot of crying. Her boyfriend needed a lot of consoling. He felt super guilty. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. My girlfriend took it particularly tough. They were best friends. It doesn't surprise me that my friend feels guilty over her death. I would too if I were in his position, but nobody could known that would happen. If anyone who reads this is in a position where you're considering suicide, you're loved. There are people who love you, whether they make that clear all the time or not. And to everyone else, make sure that the people you love know they're loved. It goes a long way. So weird to be browsing Reddit after finishing my suicide note, to come across this message. This might sound a bit weird, but I think you just saved me. Thank you. If I could award you I would, but I'm broke. Edit. Oh shoot, I just finished drawing and came back to do this. Thank you for the awards. It's oddly comforting to hear so many stories of people in positions similar to mine. I hope each and every one of us can get through this. Reading this from a hospital bed after my second failed attempt. And out to be transferred to the psych ward. I hope I get better. A few weeks after I first started dating the woman who is now my wife, she disappeared for 3 or 4 days. No contact, no calls, no texts, even her FMF location was gone. Her friends said they couldn't tell me where she was, and I was scared she had just done the most thorough ghosting of all time. I found out after a few days she had been admitted after a suicide attempt, and she was afraid I wouldn't want her anymore. In truth, it just made me realize how much I cared about her and that I never wanted to be without her again. Our relationship has had its ups and downs, and mental health still is and likely always will be a struggle for us. But I am so grateful she got help. I couldn't imagine life without her. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary in September. In the same vein, I'm proud of you for getting help. If you have people in your life who love you, they undoubtedly feel the same way. If you don't know if that's true, I hope you know how important you are and how incredible your potential is to do good and spread goodness and make the world so much better. You've seen the darkest parts of being human, and you survived them. Having been there myself, I'm really proud of you and really glad you're okay. If you ever need to talk, you can always PM me. My Sil got a tattoo of an owl and had my brother's ashes mixed with ink for the owl's eyes. My brother had very vibrant and striking blue eyes, and the owl has the same shade of blue eyes. I managed a tattoo shop, and we were about to close when a group of 6 well-dressed people came in. I asked if they came from a wedding. Complete opposite, they were coming from a funeral. All of them got a paper plane tattoo. Most people, this was their first tattoo. They kept getting calls and 8 more people came, totaling almost 16 people getting tatted plus guests hanging out. I had to ask artists to work overtime and stay back, but they all wanted to help this family and group of friends go through this tough time. For privacy I won't mention how the person they were paying tribute passed, but the reason they got paper planes is because she looked exactly like Mia apparently, and paper planes was their inside joke with her. We let them take over the music for the shop and blast that song as loud as possible, and to see sad broken people smiling and dancing and celebrating this person's life touched me. Edit. Wow, the response has been unbelievable. Thank you everyone for the love they've shown on this comment. I hope it inspires people to be nice and try to uplift someone having a bad day, whether someone close to you or a complete stranger. You really have no idea how much of an impact you can make on a person's day.